We are in Albany today in Air Park, Airy Park I think actually. I'm down here with Scotty from Scorpion Media and of course the Pink Panther. The rally has just kicked off. It's a small crowd. It's quite a wet day actually, so hopefully things will stay clear enough for the rally to continue. But please follow along. I'm going to go join in on the speeches there that are going to be quite interesting. Some pretty interesting people standing up, just members of the public down here in Albany, but we've just heard from a doctor down here who I'm going to be doing an interview with before we leave today. Of course we've got Graham Hood and his lovely wife Michelle here as well. So stay with me for probably about 15 minutes. I'll live stream, just give you a bit of a look at what's going on. And then over the rest of the weekend, well, God, it's Sunday already, we'll be doing a couple more live streams throughout the day. Please also keep a lookout for our podcast. The 8newsshow.podbean.com is how you can stay in touch with that. Just did a really lovely one this morning with Michelle Kinsella from the IMOP party. And you never know, we're going to have some interesting members of the Albany community online for a podcast this afternoon. All things going well with the weather, of course. So stay with me for just a few minutes.
Experts in science, medicine, neurology and microbiology, and real people with first-hand evidence to share. We are also using our hippocampus, our memory part of the brain, to look at history and learn from it, to compare what happened in the past with governments increasing their control and lying to the people, and big pharma companies being fined billions of dollars in past years, found guilty of fraud and espousing false information. And we see similarities in what's happening today. We are displaying empathy and looking at things from others' perspectives. Some protesters are vaccinated. Premier, you have said multiple times, quote, "I don't know what they're protesting about." So it would seem you are the one in need of some brain development yourself. So as a leader of a democratic government, would you like to learn what it is we are protesting about so you can better understand, represent and help WA citizens and develop some empathy yourself? Wonderful. As a teacher, let me give you some lessons using your own quotes to help you understand what we, the freedom protesters, are all about. Hint, the clue is in the name. Lesson number 1. You said protesters are extreme right-wingers, fascists and Nazis. False. We are a varied group of teachers, professors, lawyers, doctors, nurses, police officers, scientists, Indigenous and overseas, left and right wing, families with children, teenagers, old and young. If we freedom protesters are extreme Nazis, that would mean we have thousands of Nazis practicing medicine in our country's hospitals, teaching children in our schools and practicing law in our justice system. Oh dear. In fact, we protesters see similarities in today's Australia with Germany under Nazi control, where people lost freedoms, rights, choices over their body and their movement, were segregated, were made to carry ID papers, after Hitler burned down Parliament House and enacted emergency powers when none of it was necessary. We are fighting against a Nazi-like state. Lesson number 2. You said, if we don't get people vaccinated, large numbers of people will die. They will fill up our hospitals. The truth is, we have always had over 99% chance of survival if we catch COVID, based on the government health website and the Australian Bureau of Statistics data. Sorry. Many nurses and doctors lost their jobs because they would not take this experimental injection. These are trained, experienced medical professionals who are losing their jobs because they are so concerned about having this biological experiment put into their bodies. They should surely have seen these hospitals full of patients and they should all want to get the vaccine surely, yet they do not. So many of us have all known people who are vax-free and had COVID and recovered just like it was a mild cold. Lesson 3. You said the COVID-19 vaccines are safe, but people died after having this experimental drug. Why are so many young, fit, healthy athletes dropping with heart attacks? People became hospitalised, paralysed, suffered heart conditions, heart attacks, loss of sight, blood clots, nervous system disorders after having the injection. I literally know people whose family members and friends have suffered these consequences. There are millions of instances of negative COVID vaccine side effects listed on the World Health Organisation's own database. Let's just say these millions of reported adverse reactions are still considered rare. They are still far more side effects than for any other vaccine ever. And as a young, fit, healthy woman making good lifestyle choices who has not yet had children and who has a 99% chance of survival even if I caught it, why would I risk these known severe side effects of getting the jab for myself and my unborn children? It does not make logical sense. We should never be forced to have a medical procedure that carries risk to lower the risk for other people of a virus that has a 99% survival rate. This is ethically not acceptable. If we wanted to get the vaccine and risk the side effects, we could. But where there is risk, there must be choice. Lesson number 4. You said it's the right decision to keep people safe. If governments were genuinely concerned about keeping people safe, they would outlaw cigarettes, alcohol, unhealthy foods like sugary processed junk, fatty oily foods, processed meats and so much more. And they would even outlaw obesity because these factors kill billions of people every year and are causes of 15 of the top 16 leading causes of death. But they don't ban these. Why not? Could it be because personal choice trumps health? Could it be because people would be outraged if the government told them what they could and could not put in their bodies, even if it was in the name of improved health? Aha! Light bulb moment. Do you understand now why we're so angry about you, a politician, forcing us to put things into our body? If you really based your decisions on medical science and if you really cared about our health, you would be telling us that the COVID virus alone does not kill you, not unless the internal environment of your body is unhealthy. You would be encouraging us to exercise more, eat healthier, sleep better, stress less and have good mental health, and educating us with exactly how we can improve these areas of our life. If you cared about our health, you would not be adding to our stress and poor mental health by enforcing isolation, loneliness, and untold stress and pressure, which is exactly what you did. If you cared about our health, you would be encouraging us to become self-sustainable, to grow our own local spray-free food, to spend time with friends and family, and to develop strong communities. Lesson number 5. You said, quote, if people want to give up high-paying jobs and good careers because they listen to crazy conspiracy theories, that is their choice. Absolutely false. What an outrageous, despicable thing to say. I have built my own business from the ground up. I have worked so hard and put in so much effort to improve our educational system and the well-being and learning outcomes for the future generation. I am highly recommended by hundreds of teachers, students and parents. I did not want to give up my career that I love teaching kids. I did not make the choice to throw away my career. I made the choice not to risk an experimental injection, and you made the choice that I could no longer make a positive difference in the lives of young people. Shame on you. My mother, my brother, my partner, my sister-in-law, my mother-in-law, my friends, their families are all good people contributing positively to the WA community, and none of them wanted to give up their jobs. You decided, but they had no choice. Don't you dare lie about that. My brother worked in his workplace for over 7 years and was appreciated by everyone. In December, despite almost no one else being on his work site this particular day, he was made to leave the grounds immediately with whatever personal belongings he could carry and was not allowed to go back on the grounds to pick anything up.
My mum had her heart broken when she could no longer perform her admin duties at a small school where students said she was the much-loved mother of the whole school. The staff and students miss her terribly. She went to the school grounds to return her laptop and had to stand on the verge outside, and all the students came and stood alongside the bars along the fence and asked when she was coming back. And your final lesson, McGowan. We have different sorts of brainwaves. Gamma brainwaves are the brain's optimal frequency of functioning. Gamma brainwaves are natural antidepressants, boosting our happiness and even increasing our IQ, our intelligence. We get gamma brainwaves when we are kind and compassionate. McGowan, for the last 2 years, I don't think you got a single gamma brainwave, and that explains a lot. I'm just going to have to yell really loudly.
You can do it, Tammy.
All right, here we go. Gather in close. If you can't already tell, my number one character strength is honesty. I will always tell the truth no matter what, regardless of whether people want to hear it or not, and regardless of whether it will make me more or less popular or get me in trouble. So you can imagine how the last 3 years have been, knowing what we all know. At age 28, I left full-time employment and founded my own business, above and beyond education, to try and revolutionise the education system, to help young people realise and reach their incredible true potential, to be happy and healthy, to expand human knowledge and to make the world a better place to be, using my unique brain-based holistic approach to wellbeing, teaching and learning, to help us go above and beyond the current education system. Because the point of education is not to brainwash kids into becoming rule-following robots that parrot the politically correct indoctrination, lies and idiocy that the government promotes. The point of education is not to do well in tests, get the one right answer and be good at algebra. The point of education is to help young people realise and reach their true potential as humans, to develop their strengths and passions, to foster their innate natural curiosity, goodness, love of learning, growth mindset and common sense.
Amen.
The point of education is to develop in our youth critical and creative thinking, innovative thinking, thinkers who ask questions. Should be working? Yay! We got it back. Okay. So the point of education is to develop in our youth critical and creative thinking, innovative thinking, thinkers who ask questions, not blindly accept what society, the media and the government tells us, thinkers who think outside the box. During my own childhood, I went through the family court system and was raised by a very strong, independent, single mum who had a never give up attitude, just like the Energizer Bunny. So I grew up with adults and experts trying to tell me what the truth was and what I couldn't do. It didn't work. I grew up to be someone who questions everything, who does my own research to find the real truth, who is fascinated by the things we don't know yet, who does not trust the government or media or commercial powers for 1 second, who thinks critically with plain common sense and logic. And in many ways, I live my whole life outside the box. When the COVID mandates were introduced, excuse me for 1 sec. This is my Energizer Bunny mummy who's coming. Okay. Here we go. When the COVID mandates were introduced, here's what I posted publicly online. After the 31st of January, here's what the vaccine-free can do. We can go camping, hiking, four-wheel driving, get fit, move and exercise outdoors, go to the beach, watch a sunset, spend time with friends and family, pets and animals, read books, play games, cook and eat together, dance and listen to music, meditate, have conversations, laugh together, watch movies, documentaries. Be romantic, caring and kind. Paint, draw, sew, play music, be creative, garden, grow our own food. I will keep living the life I want to live and I will not allow my freedoms to be determined by any man or government. Plus, the great news, doing all those things that we can do will increase our happiness, health and longevity. So I would encourage us all to do these things more. When Todd and I discovered that we could no longer teach and present our workshops at schools anymore, even though principals still wanted us to, it made me cry because working with kids is my passion. And we had put so much time and effort into creating our awesome workshops with 8 eccentric costumed characters and singing and dancing. People have said with the next wiggles, and now we were told we couldn't teach. But we knew clouds have silver linings, and we'd worked with homeschool families already. So we reached out and offered our services to the growing homeschool community in the Great Southern. And we discovered a grateful, awake, like-minded community and made new friends and were invited into people's homes to help. We ran 2 of our workshops at Hannah's house for awake parents and their children and teens, and we will run more soon. I'm helping many homeschool families, and it's so rewarding to get feedback like, "You left my daughter for the first time in her life happy and excited about education and looking forward to this new adventure." I'm helping kids and teens learn based on their passions and interests with passion projects, and helping set up a learning schedule that matches their strengths and allows for more free time to explore their interests and real life learning. We need to take responsibility for our own health and happiness and not leave it in the hands of corrupt politicians. We need to eat healthily, sleep well, move enough, think and feel positively. It is an unequivocal fact that those 4 things make our immunity stronger and mean we have almost no chance whatsoever of dying of COVID. And that is what they should have been telling us all along. Remember, all that is needed for evil to triumph is for good people to do nothing. I'm not talking about the good, awake people who are forcibly coerced into getting the jab after trying everything they could to not have to take it. They have every right to feel angry. I'm talking about those in society who too often hide behind the, "Oh, I'm just following the rules, doing what the government tells me, not thinking for myself, being a good little obedient citizen." No, you are a human being with free will and the capacity for logical thought and empathy. You can choose. Grow a spine, draw a line, and don't cross it. Stand up for what is right and good and true. If a rule makes no sense or is downright dangerous, then as far as you can, don't follow it. We the people far outnumber the government, and we need to remember our power. We need to remember a lie is still a lie no matter how many people speak it, and the truth is still the truth no matter how few people know it. We teach children about the need to have a growth mindset so that they see mistakes and challenges as chances to learn new things and opportunities for growth. And I bet that most of us here have taken a growth mindset approach to the COVID situation, seeing the many challenges as opportunities to reflect and develop an alternative, better, healthier lifestyle, family, life values and community. Thank you very much.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you. First of all, my name is Todd, and I'd just like to say a big thank you to Hannah and to everyone else who's been involved in making this event possible today. Thank you very, very much. Like many of you out there, I lost my income as a first aid education officer for St. John Ambulance, as a mentor and support worker, as a sound healer and meditation facilitator, and as a classroom educator, as Tammy Ann just talked about. But for the next few minutes, I'd like to shift your focus towards some of the positives, the opportunities and the possibilities that have come from these last couple of years. You see, we've been forced into a deeper sense of awareness to really take a hard look at what's important to us in our lives each and every day. Things like time with family and friends, building a strong sense of community, our health and lifestyle choices, what it really means to be happy, and that it's not always the highest paying 9-to-5 job, or maybe any 9-to-5 job for that matter. Autonomy over our own bodies, a fair and just society, to have a voice in this society, and the importance of being self-sustainable and not relying on the government as much as practically possible. These tough few years have given us the chance to take a look at the way we live our lives, to see where we can improve them and where we can take control and responsibility for them. But this self-reflection leads us to ask ourselves a few tough but important questions. Like, am I in control of my own health? Could it be better? What could I do to make it better? Was I happy in my career? Did it bring me joy every single day? Or is there something else that I would love to do that would truly light me up that I could pursue instead? Am I moving towards a more self-sustainable life? Am I growing my own food? Am I building and partaking in a strong sense of supportive community? Could I better manage my debts, my finances? Perhaps downsizing to get away from that locked-in handcuffs of the government, banks and loans and various other things? Or simply asking, do I really need this much stuff? You see, when we can't control what's happening, we need to challenge ourselves to control the way we respond to what's happening. And that is where true power lies. So thank you very much for your time. Have an absolutely beautiful day and look forward to chatting to you all soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Todd. Thanks, Tammy-Ann. Stellar helpers in our community. We're really grateful for them. Our next speaker is Jessica Heller-Batt. She's a registered psychologist formerly employed with the Department of Communities, Child Protection and Family Support. She was dismissed from her role as district psychologist in December last year due to these vaccine mandates. After taking her case to the Industrial Relations Commission, the department conceded her unfair dismissal. Future hearings are scheduled to negotiate her reinstatement and other possible remedies for redress. She's a beautiful woman and I'm so honoured that she's come to speak to us today. Thank you, Jessica.
Good morning, dear fellow pro-choicers and those among us who are joining us with interest. When I was asked by Hannah recently whether I was able to speak at today's event, I was hesitant. As a psychologist, there currently exists no separation between my personal and professional conduct and views. Many of my colleagues around the country have experienced difficult situations in relation to expressing their personal opinions, with psychologists being suspended or deregistered for making pro-choice statements outside of their work environment. I feel for these colleagues as I feel for all members in community across Australia who have lost their means of making an income or are living in fear to do so. Many have been acting from a place of guardedness and self-censorship to avoid disciplinary actions and other ramifications, placing their livelihoods at risk. While there will be an important change next week affecting some people positively, countless employees will be unable to return to work, with some companies having already put policies in place that preclude their reinstatement and exclude others from gaining new employment. Industries have now taken it upon themselves to keep communities safe through measures for which we are yet to see the evidence base. So today I'm speaking to you as a woman, as a mother, as a friend and community member. I do not know whether this will protect me, and so while I would like to speak frankly, I will have to choose my words wisely. This is important to know because the pro-choice community is much larger what meets the eye. Rather, it is constrained by the fear of serious repercussions. I believe one of the most important aspects of living through difficult and unprecedented times is to look at ourselves and the opportunities offered by the adversity. I often ask myself what it means to be awake and how this is manifest in everyday life. Am I, as a member of the pro-choice community, different compared to others? Well, I don't think I'm different at all. There are days when I feel tired of asking questions and querying rules that seem irrational, inconsistent, and even harmful. So what is it then that I can do to contribute in positive ways to help bring about change so badly needed in a society faced with the loss of personal freedoms, free speech, and the credibility of sciences that adversely impact on the quality of life and equal opportunities. I believe that by showing respect for others, no matter their stance, and by encouraging others to do the same, I can model what I would like to see around me. Placing ourselves in the shoes of others who feel scared and compelled to do the right thing in the eyes of authority can help us remain compassionate and assist others in developing compassion towards us. This can be difficult when we face discrimination and humiliation on a daily basis, and yet it is a powerful teacher in learning who we are as we stand tall and righteous. We can set the tone of every interaction we have. In fact, we can choose to be the tone, the manifestation of change towards the person we want to become and the society we would like to live in. This does not mean that we accept what we believe to be wrong. To push on seems of the essence, as I have noticed people getting worn down. If we value justice, strength, integrity, perseverance, and social empowerment, just to name a few, then we will find opportunities to maintain these values within our individual approach to activism. They will help fortify us as we are continuing to question and say no to oppression and disempowerment. So I'm asking you, what is it that you can do on a daily basis to act in accordance with your values and hopes for the present and the future? We all bring such unique qualities within and without the new movement we find ourselves in. We may not always agree with the way other people of the pro-choice community express themselves. Here too, we can set the tone and offer unconditional, positive regard. Being awake also carries responsibility for ongoing scrutiny within our own ranks. I suggest we do not rest to ask critical questions of anyone who is in a place of power and authority, and who has the privileged position to look after others, psychologically, mentally, physically, economically, and spiritually. The only way we can create a better way of living is to remain vigilant and truly awake in every aspect of our lives, regardless of individual status, intentions, positions, and agendas. Perhaps by now we have learned that we can take charge of ourselves, our mental and physical health, our relationships, our parenthood. We can reclaim ourselves as the independent, resourceful, eligible, and knowing people we inherently are. We have come to heavily rely upon experts with often dire consequences to our physical and mental health. Frequently, parents feel disenfranchised as they are dealing with the school system, pediatricians, psychiatrists, psychologists, NDIS coordinators, speech and OT therapists, and on goes the list. I like to remind people that despite their and their children's problems, they are actually okay. That what they are experiencing are difficulties associated with being alive. And what we are seeing is their best attempt to cope with these difficulties, that there's actually nothing wrong with them. That's a powerful realization. We can all be in charge of ourselves, and most certainly there is nothing wrong with us. We are standing up for what we know to be true. To be awake is to ask questions. Thank you.
Okay, we're getting to the hoods, so bear with. I hope you're enjoying our amazing speakers today. We have Dr. Mitch Sample and his wife Janie. We're both ED doctors at Albany. I'm going to let them sort of introduce themselves. Beautiful, beautiful people in our community, and we're honoured to have them come and speak. Dr. Mitch.
Good morning. Not sure where my wife is. That's probably changing my son's nappy or taking him for a walk. I was a junior doctor in Albany Hospital. My wife was the same. And, you know, really right now, the plans, the expectations that I had for my life, between us, we should have been earning about $250,000 a year. I would have been pursuing a promising career as a general physician, and instead I was stood down. I left my job as a doctor. I'm working as a farmhand, living week to week. This is my wife Janie and my son Lenny. And living in a shed and building a weekender, trying to make do and to preserve our savings for a house deposit when all of this sort of ramps down. How did we get here? The pandemic came along and it was all systems as normal. Everyone in the hospital was prepared, and we went into the first lockdown here in Albany, and you know, in the back of my mind, it's a little bit overhand, you know, a little bit of excessive control by the government, and so I just work went on as usual. We never saw anything that constituted a pandemic. We never saw anything really. So life went on, but eventually things really hit me when they introduced the mandates, because that's against every medical ethical principle that any doctor is taught. That's medicine 101. You have the right to choose what goes inside your body without coercion. You must give consent. And so when that came, I started questioning things quite seriously. I started reading a lot of papers, and I found one, the spike protein. What they don't tell you is that's what causes harm in the virus, and yet that's what we're putting in the vaccine. It causes small blood vessel damage. I found another study that showed that the contents of the vaccine are pretty much everywhere within your body within 15 minutes. So you put those two together and you realize that if it goes to the brain, it's going to cause a stroke. It's going to cause dementia. It's going to cause a deterioration of cognition. If it goes to the heart, that's a heart attack, or pericarditis, or myocarditis, or something similar.
If you guys want to come in under the shelter, we'll squeeze up. Just watch the cords in this middle bit, and we'll turn it around, eh? We'll roll with the Albany weather. Just watch these cords just here, though. That's the only trip hazard issue.
I know.
And so I started reading into the evidence. I chose not to get the vaccine initially because I was trained to use scientific methodology to evaluate risk versus benefit. Something that kills someone at the average age that is greater than the life expectancy in Australia, to me, doesn't seem like a risk. And I had an 85% chance that I was going to be asymptomatic from the infection, and pretty much no chance that any harm would come to me. The standard method for controlling a pandemic is you isolate the sick. You allow the healthy to intermingle and you allow people to evaluate their own risk. So all of this was very, very concerning. I also watched as APRA, our governing body, silenced those like me, threatened to take away our registration if we spoke out against the pandemic. If it's so safe, why can't we have transparency? I watched as those of my colleagues who believe similarly to myself, they were deregistered, deplatformed, and crushed. I watched the media present a one-sided narrative that inspired fear, and I began to question things. We lost our jobs. We went to the union, the medical union. We found no answer there. We went to lawyers, have been moving in lockstep. And I began to think, this is the stuff.
There we go. Oh, it took me a little while to work that out. I'm a bit of a noob at this, but everyone, thank you for staying with us. There's quite a few more speakers to come, but the Albany weather has just kicked in and looks like we're going to get some heavy rain. So it's a little bit hard to get in amongst the crowd there. So the other issue I have, of course, is the old phone battery's about to die. So I'm going to end the stream now, throw the phone on charge, and we'll try and pick this up again in another half an hour or so. And of course, we're going to have a chat with the Pink Panther and many other people like Graham Hood, hopefully. Poor guy's getting smashed, so I don't really want to hassle him too much, but I'm sure we'll be able to get him to say a few words at least. Martin, say a quick hello to everybody.
Hi guys, how are you? We were down here in Albany, seeing Graham Hoodie here and all the lovely people down here in Albany. Lovely place. So yeah, trying to wake more people up and, you know, share all the truthful information we have on this experimental drug, and yes, inspire people to give the courage to, you know, speak out, come up and wake up. So we got to keep going. We can't give up. We got to fight the fight. You know, so we're on a tour down here in Albany. We're heading to Port Hedland next week, where you know what's happening with the council up there. So we're going to give the Port Hedland community some fantastic support. We've got lots of people, please God, coming from Perth, and we're going to get behind the cause.
Mate, thank you very much. As I said, everyone, the phone battery is about to die, so I've got to end this stream right now, and we'll come back to you, weather permitting, in the next half an hour or so. Thank you. See you all soon. Bye.